All right, so yeah, my name is Nathaniel. My title is primary for the program, so I'm a lead in my group with my dog handler teammates. Like I said, I've been incarcerated 12 years. I first got locked up in August 10th of 2013. I'm convicted of first-degree murder, so I have a life sentence. Through a lot of criminal justice reform, I was able to reduce my sentence to 18 years to life instead of 25 to life, so I've essentially gotten 7 years off my sentence. And it's been huge to have that amount of time, like to know, because I go to a parole board in 6 years now, as opposed to what would have been 13 years from now, and that's a long time. That's a lot of what I consider is a lot of life to live potentially out there, as opposed to in here. Every day that I could potentially be out there, as opposed to in here, is a blessing. So that's why I had mentioned to you guys prior to this, the last time you came, is that things like this that humanize us, they go to the effect of being really beneficial towards criminal justice reform, laws and bills like Prop 57 or Senate Bill 260, which award us credits for good behavior and positive programming. Because when people see this, assembly members, lawmakers, celebrities, whoever the case may be, they do see that we have a side and an aspect to us that warrants a second chance of society. This is my first prison term, so I would love to get out one day and just be a productive member of my society, continue making direct and indirect living amends, and just be somebody that you or a CO or a commissioner could feel comfortable, like, oh, that's my neighbor, that's Nathan over there, that's Sparks, so that's what I strive for, and that's what I hope to accomplish one day, go on the board, get found suitable, and eventually get out, because there's a lot to do out there that, and I can't wait to embrace it one day, for sure. The program's been wonderful. We were accepted into the program about September of October, in October about 2024, and we got our first dogs in November. So my first dog was a Belgian Malinois, but she was all black. She was unique. Her name was Macy. And she was a great dog, but unfortunately she had intestinal parasites really severely. So my team and I had administered 3 rounds of deworming medication for her to get over the parasites. Well, no, she came with 1 round, and we administered 2 others because it was severe, like severe to the point where her behavior was severely hampered. She was debilitated. She was vomiting and things of that nature. Like, she wouldn't eat. Her drive was not there. Sometimes she would go into, like how when we get the flu, we kind of shut down, fevers and chills. It was similar to that. So we nursed her back to health, got her trained, got her certified, and then she's now in a happy, healthy home with one of the guys on the yard's mom adopted her with a huge yard. So we see videos of her running around. She's loving life right now. And I'm loving it that she got that second chance at life. Of course, to have a dog, right? But all my life, I've been incarcerated 12 years, but all my life prior to that, I've always had some kind of animal. Maybe not necessarily dogs, but cats, guinea pigs, any kind of, I just love animals, the unconditional love they give you and the purpose that we have in taking care of them. Now this for us well, at least for me in particular, this is a whole separate type of category, because I'm not only caring for the dog, but I'm training the dog as well. Whereas before, having pets, your prerogative isn't necessarily to train the dog, it's just to make sure your dog eats and goes for walks, right? So now we have that sense of responsibility, which I've embraced wholeheartedly, and I love it because it gives me a purpose in here to live out my day-to-day life with. So yeah, that was one of the reasons. And then, of course, just something different, something that I could probably say that I'm a part of, because prison becomes very monotonous. It becomes to the point where if I'm talking to a family member, a friend, or anyone, it's kind of just repetitive, and I just end up venting about things. But with this, now I have, oh, my dog did this, or I trained my dog to do this, or we went to training and she was able to do whatever the case may be. So it's something, it gives us another facet, like another dimension to our lives as someone in prison. It's been great. For one, when the program first came, there were a lot of detractors. There were a lot of people who were solidly against it for whatever reason, for whatever reasons they had, I don't know, COs, inmates. But as the program started to progress and they seen not only the change that it brought and the people involved in the program, the handlers, the trainers, but also the people on the yard, there are people who've been down for extensive periods of time, decades, who've either never or haven't touched an animal, so for us to bring the animals to them and allow them to interact and fraternize with the animals, it marks it exhibits a marked change in their behavior, their personality, their attitude. So the COs that were detractors or staff or even inmates, they started to they warmed up to the idea of it, just knowing that this is something that's positive for the environment as a whole. And I would say over the first 2 to 4 months, it was rough going because it's also new, right? It's the scheduling, letting the dogs out to use the bathroom, the training methods, the accessing the gym for certain periods of time for specific training, like things like that. It was all new. The whole OP changed, the operation procedure of the prison, the facility. So a lot of people had to they had to make a huge adjustment to their day-to-day programs, what they've been doing for years. And at first it was rough, but over the last few months, 2 or 3 months, it's smoothed out considerably to where now it's just like, okay, dog program here, you're here, we have an event here, bring the dogs. And now too, with the experience that we've gained within the program, training them, because I didn't have any experience training animals, right, prior to this. But through my readings, through the training, through learning from some of the other guys who did have experience, now it's like I can get a dog and I assess the dog and then I move on with the dog's training. So I'm not bringing around, because most of these dogs are feral. So I'm not just walking around with the feral dog trying to figure out like what to do with it. And that all helps run the program in a more smooth, like efficient manner. And it's been every day it gets better and better.
What gets you through your hard days
then? Well, first and foremost, my family. My support network on the outside, but the dog is like, it's huge because we live with the dogs. So it's not a fostering situation where the dogs come and they stay with us for a short period of time and then they're taken and then returned back to us for training. It's actually an immersive program where we have 2 kennels in the cell. So there's 2 teams in each cell, 3 people to a team and a dog to each team. So 2 dogs, 6 people. So at any given time, we do structure it to where the dogs don't play in the cell. They don't have excessive out of crate time for the structure of, because we want to emulate the cell as a sort of like home experience to where if they're home, they could be out without jumping around, running around, tearing things up. But on occasion we bring the dogs out and we bond with them. We'll cuddle them. Like just earlier, not 20 minutes ago, I was literally laying on the floor with one of the pups, just like petting her and playing with her. Her tail does a little helicopter when she gets, it's something that like, it instantly brightens your mood. Like no matter what you're going through or how you're feeling, anything negative, it's all immediately forgotten when that dog puts her snout in your face and just like headbutts you, licks you, or jumps on top of you, or, it's a physical contact that is not only not permitted in the system, but is frowned upon with other people, right? So it's like, for us, like I get visits, I get family visits, I'm fortunate in that way, but those are every so often, every 4 months, So to have that daily physical contact where it's like, you have something that loves you, it's pretty great. Prison is not what's portrayed in a movie, a TV show, a series. It's not. There are areas and places that do portray that type of life and that type of environment when it comes to prison, but they're few and far between. For the most part, most of us are lower level, minimum, medium security inmates. Like this facility here is considered what's called a level 2. So it's the most minimum security that me as a life-term inmate can have. I can't go to a level 1. But the highest is a level 4. So most of us, throughout the course of the years, we've worked our way down to the level 2 facility. We've changed our life, we've rehabilitated, we have extensive amounts of clean time, which is years without a write-up or rules disciplinary report. So I just want it known to the public, like we're not what's perceived on, like that's all entertainment and shock value, right? We're more than that, we're more in depth than that. And a lot of us do come from backgrounds or even from crimes that are severe and serious, but we make that effort to rehabilitate ourselves and to change our life. And a program like this is good because it helps us build those character attributes of compassion, empathy, patience, and just responsibility. We don't, sometimes we'll have a job, we'll have a vocation, we'll have a schooling assignment, whatever the case may be, but that's a responsibility that's like cut and dry, run of the mill. This is a responsibility like this living being's fate, the health and the wellness of this living being is in your hands. So it's given us a real sense of purpose, and a lot of us live with that. Like, we live with that sense of purpose, and we're just given the opportunity, we'll embrace it.